Welcome to the Lifetime Assembly channel. My name is John, and today I'm going to help you assemble your foot adjust basketball system. Before we get started, make sure the model number of your basketball system is listed in the description below. This video will follow the steps outlined in your assembly manual that comes with the basketball system. If you've already begun and need help on a specific step, check the comments or description below for a timestamp associated with each step. Now let's take a look at what comes inside the box. Before we begin the assembly process, let's take a look at the tools you'll need to complete the job. You'll need 2 3/4 inch wrenches, 2 3/8 wrenches, 2 7/16 wrenches, 2 9/16 wrenches, 2 1/2 inch wrenches, a Phillips head screwdriver, a pair of pliers, a rubber mallet, 2 3/16 Allen keys which are included, a drill. You may see us use an impact driver. If you decide to use one as well, be sure not to over torque or over tighten the hardware, and a tape measure. To make this easier, we're going to use a 3/16 hex head bit, a socket adapter, a socket set, and a Phillips bit. Depending on how you decide to fill the base of your system, you'll need 362 pounds of sand and a funnel, or a garden hose connected to a water source. It's crucial that you refer to the assembly manual to review the safety instructions for this build to prevent serious injury or property damage. It may also be helpful to have another person available on some of the steps. This video is meant to be used as a companion to the assembly manual and not a direct replacement. So for the best results, make sure to have the assembly manual available during the build. All right, let's get started. Slide the top pole, which is the shortest pole, over the middle pole, which is the pole with the warning label, making sure that the small hole at the bottom of the top pole goes over the slot at the top of the middle pole. Secure with the hardware until the screw is flush, but it's normal if it spins freely. Attach the pole bracket to the bottom pole through these holes, making sure to put the bolt through the small set of holes. Slide on the metal sleeves and attach your bracket, making sure it's oriented like this. Attach the bottom pole to the middle pole using the same method as before. Now we're going to seat the poles together by striking the bottom pole on a piece of scrap wood or cardboard 5 or 6 times. You're going to need to use some force, so be sure not to hit your toes. It's crucial that you complete this step, otherwise your system can separate during use, causing serious injury or property damage. Take a measuring tape and measure the pole from the top to the bottom to the nearest 1/8 of an inch. Write down this measurement because you'll need it later in the assembly process. Attach the flat end of the pole brace to the base, making sure that the angled side of the pole brace is oriented like this, not like this. Only finger tighten this hardware for now. Repeat for the other side, making sure that the pole brace is oriented like this. At the bottom of the pole, add the small axle into the hole closest to the bracket. Then add the large axle to the hole just below. Then add a wheel to each side. And then your plastic washers. Lay the base over the large axle, making sure the axle rests in these notches. Step on the base until you hear the axle click into place. Rotate the pole up until the small axle rests in these notches. Lift the pole braces up until they line up with this hole and secure with the hardware. Lay the pole on the ground and don't lift it back up until there's proper weight in the base. Now you can secure the hardware at the other end of the pole braces. Slide your U-bolt through these holes on the backboard brackets, making sure it's oriented like this. Slide your spacer into the spring, and then align the spacer with these holes and secure with the hardware. Only finger tighten the hardware for now. Add another spacer with the hardware through these holes as well. It's important that the U-bolt stays in this notch facing down. Place your rim support channel over these holes, then place your U-bolt into the holes just above. Add the hardware to the oblong holes on the rim, making sure the bolts are close to the outside edge. Tighten the hardware until it is snug. You don't want the rubber washers to bulge. Slide the rim onto the backboard, making sure the U-bolt goes through the other set of holes on the rim. Tighten the hardware, but make sure you have a wrench on the bottom side of the bolt. Slide the jam nuts onto the U-bolt until they go all the way down the threads. Add the compression springs over the U-bolt. Add the spring retainer plate. And secure with the hardware. Don't over tighten the hardware. You want it just tight enough so that the rim doesn't wobble. On the back of the backboard, bend the backboard brackets so that they align with this hole and secure with the hardware. Finish tightening the hardware on the backboard bracket. Attach the short extension arms to these holes, making sure that the end with the holes closer together is further away from the backboard. If you're having a hard time getting the bolt to go through, use the threaded end of a bolt to remount the excess powder coating in the hole. Only finger tighten this hardware for now. Repeat the previous step for the long set of extension arms through these holes. Connect the long extension arms to the second set of holes at the top of the pole and going through the holes that are further away from the end. Connect the short extension arms through this hole, going through the top hole on the short extension arm. Now tighten all of the hardware going through the extension poles. Only tighten so that the nut is flush with the end of the bolt. Add the pedal support bracket to the pedal bracket oriented like this. And then add the hardware in this order. Now tighten the hardware, but make sure not to over tighten. Now add the hardware directly above. Slide the pedal support bracket onto the square tube that has a notch at the end. Make sure that the holes line up and your springs are oriented like this. You may need to use a rubber mallet to tap the bracket down so that the holes line up. Secure the bracket to the tube with the self-tapping screws. Insert the inner channel into the outer tube, making sure the end without a hole goes in first. Make sure the notches are on the same side as the pedal bracket, then lift up on the pedal bracket and slide the inner channel down until it locks into place. Make sure not to let go of the inner channel because you don't want it to go too far. Place the pedal onto the pedal bracket and secure with the hardware. For this step, you're going to need the measurement of the pole that you took earlier. Refer to your manual to see the chart on which hole you'll be using for the bracket. Take your lifter arm and slide the end of the bracket with 5 holes into the bottom, making sure that the hole the manual told you to use lines up with this hole here. You may need a rubber mallet to initially tap the channel in. It may be also helpful to pull the channel in and out a few times to free up the excess powder coating. Secure the channel to the lifter arm with the hardware. Before continuing, make sure you've done the previous steps properly and refer to your assembly manual, otherwise you may have issues adjusting the hoop later. Secure the lifter arm to the channel with the self-tapping screw through this hole. Slide the square tube with the pedal bracket over the channel, making sure to line up the holes the manual told you to use. Secure the two together using the same method as before. Insert the plug into the top of the lifter arm, making sure the extended piece is opposite the pedal. Place the two halves of the handle over the hardware, making sure that this arrow is on the same side as the pedal. With the lifter arm oriented like this, attach the top of the lifter arms to the lower extension arms with the hardware. If you're having a hard time getting this bolt to go through, go ahead and loosen the bolt directly below it. Attach the lifter arm to the bracket at the bottom. You may need to adjust the inner channel for the holes to line up. Insert the bolt into these holes on the short extension arm. Using the closed end of a wrench, lift the spring onto the bolt that you just installed. Go ahead and add the net to the rim. Now remove the plastic film from the backboard. For the next steps, click on this link here to see how to properly fill the base of your system. We've already filled the base of this system, so we're going to move on to the next step. Raise your basketball hoop to the highest position. Place a sticker on the back of the pole, making sure the 10-foot mark lines up with the arrow on the handle. Thank you for watching this video on how to assemble your lifetime foot adjust basketball system. If you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up. For more content like this, subscribe to our channel. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to our customer service team and check out our other awesome products at lifetime.com.